When will cruising start back in the U.S.? We all want to know that answer. Welcome back to Journeys with Mountaineer Jim. I'm your host, Jim. Glad to see you come back. Before we get started, I just want to remind everybody to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell below. That'll give you notification that anytime I put a new video up. Anyway, let's get back to it. When are we going back to cruising? Well, right now, it's been just about a year now since all this started, when the cruises started getting canceled. We're now almost in the spring of 2021, and all the cruises majority of your cruises are suspended globally at this time. And right now, the startup dates is all dependent upon the your authorities, your local authorities, the local governments, the CDC for the U.S. To have their framework in place to get this thing going. So the cruise lines are just kind of a standstill waiting, and they're want to get going just as much as we are. CDC's already announced a 40-page framework on conditional setting orders for cruises in the U.S. Vaccine rollouts has been slow, which is affecting a lot of returns. And cruise lines are also taking their own health measures. It's costing the cruise lines millions of dollars to put these technology into place. So when we do start back to cruising, and the CDC and the local governments and authorities have their requirements in place, I'd say the cruise lines will be already ahead of them. These cruise lines, and of course, a lot of your local businesses have been hit hard because of this pandemic. It's not just the cruise lines, it's the cruise lines and the local people they support. It's a big trickle effect. And Royal Caribbean just announced that their huge losses in 2021. The last quarter of 2020, they shown a loss of $1.4 billion. That is a lot of cash. And they're burning at a rate of $250 to $290 million a month, just sitting at idle. That's not counting, when they get their crew back on the ships and start testing. So right now they're going through a lot of dough. But they also said that they're good. They can survive. They'll manage this. But who knows how long that's going to last. Carnival also has suspended all their sailings till June. They were looking at the inaugural of the Mardi Gras to sail in Port Canaveral in May of this year. That's been postponed and moved up to June 5th now. We still don't know if that's going to happen. Alaskan cruises. They haven't been canceled yet. If you've been booked on an Alaskan cruise out of Seattle or some other ports, they're still going on so far. The only ones that's been canceled is the ones that embark or debark in Canada. Those ones has been canceled. But right now, the Congress is in negotiations and talks with Canada about maybe possibilities of going to their ports and not debarking, and just boarding and then exiting. That way they can go ahead and resume their sails into Alaska. That's all still in the talks. But like I said, it's still showing that you can book cruises for Alaska this year. Now, the Cayman Islands. They're cutting tourism, and they're really big into into cruise tourism. Their numbers are usually, their numbers are really high. Normally, like in 2019, they've hosted 1.83 million cruise ship passengers that year. Cayman Islands is also cutting tourism. They feel that with this pandemic and not having any cruising, that they can survive without cruising. That'll take a big hit because they were a big host for cruises, and a lot of millions of dollars rolled through that place. In 2019, MSC, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Disney were investing in the Georgetown port there, which now the government of Cayman Islands has put a stop to that. I don't know how much has been invested already from these cruise lines, but that's at a halt at this time. In 2017-18 cruise season at the Cayman Islands, cruise line generated passenger revenue spending in the island amounted to about $224.5 million. Cruise lines themselves have spent $34.9 million in the Cayman Islands just for port fees, taxes, navigation, provisions, and supplies. So that's a hard hit to the Cayman Islands. Now, as far as vaccines, the rollout is coming. It's coming out slower than anticipated. I think that vaccines has a lot to do with this holdup on sailings. Well, one of the big questions is, will vaccines be required to cruise? We don't know yet. Some of the cruise lines has already announced that their crew members will need to be vaccinated before travel. They are talking to lawyers and looking into the legality of it. One of the big things is the rollout of the vaccines is slow. So the question is, can they wait until everybody's been vaccinated to cruise? We don't know. They don't know yet. So, having said that, that's still on the standstill as far as if that's going to be required or not. And that goes for the airlines and all public transportation. A lot of people want to know, is cruising going to go back to normal? I'd say it will eventually, but this time, you still won't have the COVID checks and temperature checks and mask requirements and the limited amount of people that will be on the ships. So eventually we'll go back to normalcy, but right now to get cruising going, it's going to be different. But still, there's a lot of bookings that's already been booked. 2022 is already booking up. There's still some bookings available for 2021. So, having said that, it's still promising, and there will still be cruising for the future. So if you will, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment below if you have any questions. I'll get back to you, and hit that notification bell too. That way, any videos I put up in the future, you'll get notified. But again, till next time, bye.